Ooh, there we go. It's better. Centered. Okay. We are live, gentlemen. All right. So, hello, everybody out there, and welcome to another episode of That Film Podcast. I'm your host, David Weaver, and joining me, as usual, are Brian Salazar and James Blunt. And this week, we are going to be reviewing the new Marvel film, Guardians of the Galaxy. Sorry about missing last week. We were just kind of not too thrilled with a lot of films that came out last week, and we had other personal things happening, so we just didn't get a chance to get to it. But I will have a little mini review of Lucy, which came out last week. But other than that, this week is going to be all about Guardians of the Galaxy, and some interesting news tidbits as well coming up. But without further ado, let's get this party started. Brian, if you will, top 12?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Hit the music. Okay. So number 12 this week, Transformers Age of Extinction with 2.2 million. Number 11, Boyhood with 2.3 million. Number 10, A Most Wanted Man with 3.2 million. Number 9, And So It Goes with 3.2 million. Number 8, Sex Tape with 3.5 million. Number 7, The Purge Anarchy with 5.8 million. Number 6, Planes, Fire and Rescue with 6 million. The total there so far is 47.2 million.
That's a bomb.
Number 5, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes with 8.6 million. Total there 189.3. Number 4, Hercules with 11 million. Total there 52.6. Number 3, and I don't think, James, did you see this one? Get On Up with 13.5 million.
Oh, God.
No, James didn't see it. Number 2, Lucy with 18.2 million. Total there is 79.5.
Wow.
Wow isn't good or wow isn't bad?
Wow isn't good.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going into the summer, I don't think anybody expected $80 million out of that movie.
Especially since we didn't know what the hell it was.
I thought it was like the I Love Lucy biopic.
Oh, my God.
Number 1 and our movie of the week, Guardians of the Galaxy with 94.3 million.
Wow.
I think a smile on Brian's face.
I think that is like, if I remember correctly, their early projections were between 60 to 80 million for that. And that kind of blew the doors off that projection.
Without a shadow of a doubt, it exceeded expectations.
Yeah.
And I think they did it. I mean, they did it the right way. I think they perceived that people were saying, I don't know these characters, I don't know the story, I'm going to skip it. And they put all hands on deck to crank up the advertising machine. And like, oh, that's what I wanted to ask you about, Dave. So the 17-minute preview that you saw,
Yeah.
was it the first 17 minutes uncut of the movie?
No, it was when they first made it to the prison.
Oh. Okay.
And even then, the version in the film is different than the version I saw. They cut out all the scenes that they were intercut with them in the prison.
I see.
So it was chopped up a little bit to keep certain things under wraps, which I really appreciate that they did that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But I mean, that was a great way to get word of mouth going. And yeah, they did everything they could, and it paid off.
You're telling me it's like I had no intention of seeing that thing even in 3D, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, hell yeah, I'm seeing that in 3D.
Did everyone see it in 3D?
Yes. You, Brian?
Of course.
Of course, you hate 3D.
Yeah, but Dave gave it a rousing, plus, so I said, why not go see it? So that kind of is a good segue into the summer movie draft because I have a bunch of questions now.
Go ahead.
So, in my understanding from looking at the summer movie draft so far in the sheet that you sent us yesterday, James, in order for me to win, it's almost impossible still, unless Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle bombs.
Which is likely.
Well, here's the thing. I think that Mutant Ninja Turtles was going to do a certain amount of business. But with Guardians of the Galaxy coming on with this huge opening weekend,
And I already know people that want to see it multiple times.
right, and people going back to the theater to see it again, that could truly crush Turtles.
Especially since Marvel marketed this movie as family friendly.
Which Turtles is trying to go for.
Yeah. And failing.
So the thing is, Brian, you could have a solid week, Monday through Thursday, and a really good weekend with repeat viewings, and you might be right back in the hunt. Maybe not in the lead, but we got like 2 or 3 weeks to go. We got about 3 more weeks to go. If this thing has legs, you have a chance, Brian.
So here's my final question about that. When does the summer movie draft end?
I thought
think
we
said
agreed
Labor
to
Day.
what day is that? Sorry.
First week of September.
Okay.
Okay, that's plenty of time to get some money.
Yeah. And since a lot of the movies have changed places or we lost them for the end of August, there's going to be a lot of stuff that just ain't happening at the end of August. So
we've alluded to it. Let's just say outright what the results of the summer movie draft are right now. I've been off of the show for 3 weeks. In that time, I went from where I thought there was no chance to catch Dave to all of a sudden I'm in first place. I'm the first one to reach $1 billion. I'm at $6.6 million. Dave has $984 million, and Brian has $880, almost $881 million. The movies that we have left, Dave, your big ones are Expendables 3 and Sin City.
Yeah.
My big ones are, if you want to call it that, I think they're all next week, are in the next 1 to 2 weeks. I have Into the Storm, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Let's Be Cops, and that's the end of it for me. Brian, go on, Dave.
I'm still questioning The Giver. I don't know what that thing's gonna do.
I don't even know what The Giver is.
You still haven't seen a trailer for it?
No.
Wow. Okay. And I want to say that Let's Be Cops may be a surprise also. I think that's going to do better.
I'm hopeful for Let's Be Cops. I think the first time I said that about 2 months ago, you guys laughed at me. I remain hopeful for Let's Be Cops because first of all, it's a comedy. Well, Guardians of the Galaxy is pretty much a comedy too, but Let's Be Cops is a comedy. It's you see the trailer everywhere, you see the posters everywhere. It seems like it could be funny. I have hope for a solid performance. We're not talking about $200 million, but a solid performance from Let's Be Cops.
Yeah.
And then, Brian, you really don't have anything besides Guardians of the Galaxy. Next week you have Step Up.
That's what I'm telling you right there. That's the one.
I'm sorry.
That's a comedy too, in a way.
I'm sorry. It's Step Up All In.
Yep.
Coming up, and since we don't have video right now, that was a major eye roll. But yeah, it's gonna be close. We'll see how it plays out. I think the big reveal is gonna be next week. I think next week we will know who's in and who's out.
Yeah, I'm actually. Oh, I think that's in the bag for you. No problem. I don't think it's gonna have any problem.
What did Brian say?
It's gonna make. He needs Galaxy to make another $100 million.
Oh, in the next, yeah. I think that will happen.
Yeah, it's gonna. At the very least, it's gonna reach 200. At the very least.
Yeah, but remember, this summer has been where every new movie has kind of killed the other one before it.
But the thing is, you have no other new movies to kill it.
Turtles.
I mean,
okay, really. But besides that, there's been no other movie this summer that has had this kind of fan support. People love this movie, and you can't say that about X-Men. You can't say that about Maleficent or Spider-Man or anything else.
Yep.
People love Guardians of the Galaxy, and there's nothing because it got. They placed it in August. There is no competition. So now we'll see what happens for the rest of the summer.
Yep.
Are you talking about Avengers numbers then? Avengers numbers?
No.
I mean, Avengers, we're talking, what was it, 600 million or something like that?
Yeah.
That ain't happening.
Yeah. At this point, Avengers is already like at 200 million. So.
Yeah.
So. Okay. Wow. So close. So close. Okay. Does anybody else have anything to mention about the draft, or are we safe to move forward?
Let's move on.
All right. So, James, if you would like to lead us into the news, please. Our first real news segment in a long time.
In a very long time, right. In our first story from Kotaku.com, Studio Ghibli is in turmoil after Hayao Miyazaki's retirement, with rumors of the studio shutting down being more than a slight exaggeration. Being more than a slight or less than a slight? I don't know.
I'm sorry. Yeah. But well, basically, there were rumors. The rumors started persisting when one of the producers of the studio came out discussing the state of the studio, and I guess there was some confusion because of some mistranslations or something about what he was saying about what was going on with the studio. But if you want to, what's actually going on with it is in that next sentence there.
Don't let them play that game, because Nintendo has done that too. Nintendo has released something that was scathing and then go, oh well, the translator got it wrong. I don't believe that. But let's to continue. Ghibli producer Toshio Suzuki stated that with the departure of co-founder and filmmaker Miyazaki, the studio will be undergoing a massive restructuring, and that big changes will be in order to keep the studio viable. I don't see why that would be surprising, considering it's almost like they're losing their Walt Disney.
Mm-hmm.
So something definitely has to change, or they're going to shut down. I don't see that as being. I see that as being a viable possibility.
Yeah, and the thing I didn't put in there is that apparently the studio is going to go on a hiatus for a while they do this restructuring. So there's not going to be. They have one other film that's, I think, due out in Japan later this year, and of course it'll come out over here in sometime next year. But after that, there's going to be a drought of Ghibli movies for a little while.
So why would you even say that? I mean, if you didn't say that you're going on hiatus, no one would know.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. And the reasoning they gave it, which you've already kind of explained it, but they put out numbers saying that, each Miyazaki movie made upwards of $100 million for them. And every Miyazaki movie made upwards around 30 to 40 million for them. So that's quite a huge. Yeah, that's a drastic drop in revenue. So they're gonna have to fix that. But initially, when I read the story,
maybe they should reconsider that they kind of shamed him and forced him out.
Yeah, right.
Maybe you don't want to mess with the meal ticket while he's still earning.
I don't know. I still think they have a lot of talent there, but yeah, I mean, it's all going to be like almost independent style movies now, where the movies are going to come out, they're going to be really good, like From Up on Poppy Hill from last year, and almost nobody's going to see it, but it's still going to be, it's still something you want to have made and be able to watch. So, but yeah.
Okay. In our next story, close the tab. In our next story from GeekTyrant.com, Megan Fox, who is playing the famed reporter April O'Neil in the upcoming Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie reboot, had some choice words for anyone who thinks the movie may not be any good. During a press conference for the film last week, Fox had this to say about the fanboy backlash the film is receiving. Now, keep in mind, fanboys are the people that you don't want to piss off, because they're the ones who are actually going to the movie. So you might not want to piss off the fanboys. But okay. And I quote, "Let me tell you something about..." Oh, this is... "Let me tell you something about those people. Those people. How much money did Transformers 4 make? Exactly. Those people can complain. They all go to the theater. They're gonna love it, and they don't. And if they don't love it, well, I'm not gonna say that."
What did you say?
If they don't love it, they can
F dash dash dash.
they can F off, and that's the end of that.
So can I make a brief suggestion here to Megan Fox?
Would hire
When
a
the trailer
PR
first came
agent
out-
and stop talking?
Yeah, well, besides that, she needs to realize that when the trailer first came out and they show Michael Bay's name on it, people won't groan like, "Oh shit, Michael Bay."
Exactly.
But then when they saw Megan Fox is in it, they might have grown even more. So maybe if she's trying to save face, I don't know.
I don't know.
How do you
Why
say
would you open your
by
trap?
telling the fans to F off?
F off, we're going to get your money whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
So, Dave, I understand there's a follow-up story.
Yes, this is not. I mean, this is more Teenage Mutant Ninja stuff, and unfortunately for those out there, we're gonna have to be a little bit descriptive about this. But I really wanted to send this email to you guys before through email, just for a laugh. But I thought it'd be more fun to get your reaction, just your audible reaction to this. Let me give you a brief little explanation here before you click that link, James. And Brian, I will put this in our chat for you so you can check it out also. Oops. All right. There you go. Don't click it just yet. So the Turtle movie comes out next week, or this week, August 8th. But it comes out over in other countries later. And in this particular case, we're talking about is it's coming out in Australia in September. And there has been some controversy over the poster that they created for the film's release over in Australia. Now, I would like both of you gentlemen to click that link and pay close attention to not only the image of the poster and like basically what the characters are doing in the poster, but link that image with the release date at the bottom of the picture.
Click it out.
Yeah.
I'm curious what's this gonna...
Oh,
Oh boy. Oh. I think
Are those
I
body
could-
parts flying off the side of the building in the background?
You've got to explain this, Dave.
Okay, well, first of all, anybody knows the Turtles. I mean, I'm not sure about this new movie, but they reside in New York City, so the image of the on the poster is a shot from the ground up, looking up at a skyscraper with the four turtles flying down towards the camera like in an action pose with an explosion going off behind them with the tower exploding behind them. And the date the film is being released is on September 11th, which is otherwise known as 9/11. So from those two pieces, you should be able to put together what is going on with this poster.
So if there's any collectors out there, I would highly recommend jumping on this right now and finding some place on Australia that sells this movie poster. But I'm pretty sure it's not going to last too long. Wow.
I don't know how somebody could make such a thing and not realize what they're doing. It's,
And it's only on Australia that image, right?
well, I mean, I don't know about only that image, but that's the only place I think Australia is getting it on September 11th. I don't think that's any other countries are getting it that date.
I see. Okay.
But like Brian is saying, have you seen this poster anywhere else?
Not that I know of. This I originally found this story about this poster on Kotaku.com, by the way, and they only mentioned Australia for this poster.
I guess you kind of have to have the date with it as well. So okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you had the two combined,
September 11th was a worldwide event. Everybody knows about it, so it's not like you can do an oopsie on this one. Are we moving on?
Yeah. This next story is, I partially put this in here for you guys. You guys will get more of a kick out of this one than probably me, but yeah. All I can tell you is that, as far as I can tell, this story is true.
As far as you can tell. So I'm not necessarily reporting something that's accurate.
Well, this is a rumor but it's a rumor from the person who is involved in the rumor. Like, they are spreading the rumor.
Let's jump right into it. From GeekTyrant.com, what does WWE superstar Sheamus and Star Wars Episode 7 have in common? If you were to believe a tweet from the wrestling star, then way too much. Despite no official information released as of yet of this character's involvement in the upcoming film, Sheamus said via a tweet, I'm trying to prepare myself. Sheamus said via a tweet that there is a possible... Oh no! Oh.
Did we lose James?
Dave, so do you know who Sheamus is?
I've seen the picture. If you click the link, I saw the image from there. That's about all I know about him.
Let me finish. Brian, do you know anything about this?
No, I'm waiting for you to finish.
Sheamus said via a tweet that there is a possibility he will play Darth Vader in the next Star Wars film. Here's the tweet. I can't confirm that I won't not be reprising role of Darth Vader in #Star Wars. I hope that's clear at Irish Mirror.
That's who he was responding to.
Okay.
And if you click the link, there's also a magazine article where they have a screenshot of where he's talking about it in the magazine as well.
And the title of the article is Sheamus set to reveal his Darth side. This is like a print publication, the Irish Mirror.
Okay, am I wrong in remembering that Darth Vader wasn't really buff or anything?
Or a pasty white redhead.
He didn't wear the uniform, James.
Did you send this to Brian?
I have not, but I can send it to him. Here we go. I'll put a link in there for him. There you go, Brian. Yeah. It says that in the article there. It says Sheamus previously played Darth Vader on promotional tours.
What do you mean?
I don't know. That's what it says in the article, the second paragraph from the bottom.
What does that mean? For what promotional tour?
I have no idea.
What do you mean he played Darth Vader?
They always do realize Darth Vader's gone, right? Unless they clone him.
Yeah, that's my second question is, what version of Vader is he going to be?
And on top of that, like I mentioned,
is he going to be Ghost Vader?
They haven't even confirmed whether or not Vader is even going to be in this thing in any shape or form.
But that was a rumor a long time ago, right? That he was.
Yeah, that was a rumored long time ago, which we actually discussed on here.
And I think we all agree that was a bad idea.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on because I don't want to have a bad night.
In the next story, from GeekTyrant.com, Sam Raimi confirms that an Evil Dead television series is in the works, and Bruce Campbell confirms that he will likely star in the series. Confirmation of Campbell's involvement came after a fan tweeted his only reason to watch the series would be if Bruce was starring. The fan tweet says it's to who's Bill. He says only if Groovy Bruce is the star of this new TV series will I accept. And Bruce Campbell replies, "That's the plan."
It better be on cable. And like paid cable, HBO.
Now, I gotta let you guys know. It's like now this is the third version of Evil Dead that Sam Raimi has confirmed is in production. Now, there is a sequel planned to the reboot the remake we got a couple years back, and there's also the confirmation of the sequel to Army of Darkness that's also being worked on. So now we also have a TV show on top of that. So nobody knows exactly what's going on with this crap. So, and on top of this, Sam Raimi is actually making other films. He's not doing anything with the Evil Dead series at all right now. So if he's doing any of this stuff, he's doing it at home in his spare time.
At home? That's the neighbor you don't want, the guy who's filming Evil Dead in his garage.
And action.
So, yeah. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, Bruce Campbell being in it, that makes me feel a little bit better about it, but I don't know.
I'm glad Bruce Campbell's got work.
Yeah, right?
I think they're actually too late for all of this anyways.
Yeah, they are. There's no doubt. And in our final story, from ScreenRant.com, what is this?
More turtle news. I gotta say that I was not planning on putting this in here until I read the quote. The quote is awesome.
Rap artist, how can you even call him that?
What? He is.
Was 30 years ago. Rap artist Vanilla Ice,
What?
who was responsible for the song Ninja Rap, and be careful how you say that.
Go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
In the 90s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle film, Secret of the Ooze, has voiced his disapproval of the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle rap song for the new upcoming film. Here is his reaction to the new Turtle rap song, Shell Shocked. Quote, "With respect to all of the artists, the song doesn't really do it for me. It feels a little artificial. What I mean by that is that it sounds like a bunch of executives in the corporate world put it together. It really does not fit the theme of the Ninja Turtles legend. I think you have to understand and be a true ninja to possess the magic to really pull off the secret sound."
I gotta tell you, like, the last thing anybody is worried about this movie is the rap song.
No, the last thing anybody is worried about is Vanilla Ice's opinion.
I love the secret sound. I love that bit.
And that concludes the news.
Oh, hey, at least it was all entertaining news. If nothing really groundbreaking.
What's our next segment?
Well, I mean, before we get into our movie here, I'll just give some words quickly about a movie that we were planning on doing last week, but as it turned out, I ended up being the only one to actually see it, which was the new Scarlett Johansson movie, Lucy. So I'm going to give some quick review on that for you guys real quick. So let me state that I'm a big fan of the director who made the film, Luc Besson. Fifth Element, The Professional, La Femme Nikita, a lot of great 80s and 90s action films. Kind of disappeared after between 2000 and 2010. Basically, like the past decade and a half, he just kind of disappeared. Did a lot of writing. He wrote the scripts, wrote stuff like Taken and The Transporter. But basically, a lot of his films, while a lot of them are really good, a lot of them also are really hit and miss, especially the ones he wrote. And of course, this movie he does both directing and writing credits on it. So I mean, I went into it not expecting anything much more than a good-looking action movie. And for the most part, he kind of provided that. He's probably one of the best directors out there for action to date. He doesn't do any of that stupid shaky cam, and just basically during any of the action scenes, you understand what's happening. The choreography's really well. It's all framed perfectly, and his films are also very violent, which this movie is as well. But since it had been so long since he had made a movie, I was curious to see if anything had changed. Usually a lot of directors, not only over time do they kind of change and they get kind of watered down a little bit, but especially for a director that's been gone as long as he has. But I'm happy to report that for the most part, this is still the same director that anybody like me that love films like The Fifth Element and The Professional, will still probably find a lot to really like about this film, because a lot of the things that made those films really great is present in this film. But unfortunately, a lot of the issues that are present in some of his lesser works is also present in this. That mainly has to do with the characters and the story, if there was one. I'm going to state right now that this movie really is about nothing. And let me explain that a little bit. I mean, the movie begins, we meet Lucy, kind of, sort of. We just find she's in the middle of an argument, and shortly after that she gets abducted by some gangsters. And she gets forced into the situation where she becomes like a drug smuggler. She's forced to do it, where they pack this experimental drug into her abdomen, and she's supposed to go overseas with it and drop it off and whatnot. But an accident happens, it breaks open in her, and the experimental drug kind of fuses into her bloodstream, and it has this adverse effect of making her super smart. Throughout the entire film, we get these numbers flash on the screen, like 10%, 20%, and that's basically in informing us her brain activity. And through another character played by Morgan Freeman, intercut through all of the stuff with Lucy, he is giving this this speech to these graduate students or something like that about the human brain and about the percentage we're using right now and the possibilities of the percentage of what happens when we go to a higher percentage. And that stuff all correlates with what's going on with Lucy. And eventually, she meets up with Morgan Freeman, and the two of them kind of have they end up having to they end up working together by the end of the movie, I guess is the best way to put it. But what I mean by the movie not really being about anything, it's like the character Lucy has no real motivation. I mean, she's not out for revenge. She's not out to kill anybody. She's not even really out to like better herself or anything like that. Basically, through most of this movie, she's actually after the other, because she's not the only one that was carrying the drugs. She's after these other people that were carrying drugs also, because she says she needs these things, that needs the rest of the drugs to be able to like fuel herself, to be able to stay alive, because apparently this, like, her super conscience that she grows is giving her the ability to be able to see her own fate. She knows that she only has like 24 hours to live, which actually never really comes to fruition, because there's really no time frame in the film. You never really get an idea of like how much time she has left. And the ending is even a little bit more confounding with that whole idea of her having 24 hours to live. But like I said, like, there's nothing really motivating her. There's nothing really motivating any of the characters in this. What the film ends up becoming more like, and you know, there's a lot of action in the film, but there's also a lot of stuff in there, like Besson. He interjects also a lot of imagery from like documentaries, like wildlife documentaries, where he's trying to show the correlescence of like how, you know, Lucy is, you know, being attacked and captured by these gangsters, and then we see a quick cut of a lion attacking the gazelle, and you know, Lucy's supposed to be the gazelle and the lions are supposed to be the gangsters, and like there's a lot of that sort of imagery in subtext throughout the entire film like that, and through that, and also a lot of Morgan Freeman's narration. So pretty much it's narration, even though you see him. The film ends up becoming almost feeling like a Discovery film documentary about like the universe and stuff like that. Because later in the film, it gets a little bit crazy with the idea of it pretty much gets into Stephen Hawking territory, where they start conjecturing about the meaning of life and like time travel and all this other crazy stuff. And it really amounts to, I mean, it's visually. It looks great. The movie looks great. The visuals are really interesting, but by the end of the movie, I felt kind of empty, because, like I said, nothing really felt like it actually, like, there was any I don't want to say consequences, but I just felt like I just watched like Luc Besson's idea of what it is to evolve, what his idea of what the human brain would be like if it evolved. That's all I got out of this movie. So that was kind of sad. I mean, I kind of wish that the opening parts of the film showed a lot of promise, but by the time the second half hit, and Lucy kind of lost her emotions and became just driven to go and try and reach the 100% mark of her brain, I was kind of starting to check out at that point. But I will say that for a lot of the negatives I saw with this film, I found myself entertained by it, and that mostly has to do with the fact that the movie's really short. And like I said, the action scenes are done really well. Scarlett Johansson does do a good job in the movie. Pretty much proving to anybody out there that what we saw with her with Black Widow in the Marvel movies isn't a one-time deal. I think she's going to do really well if she gets any more action roles. Especially like starring roles, because she held the movie together pretty well for what she was given. But I found it entertaining enough to recommend it as a rental, but I don't think you need to see it in the theater. I think the only reason the movie did as well as it did was because it looks really intriguing when you watch the trailer for it, and it's probably one of the only original films to be released this summer. Most of the summer has been filled with reboots, remakes, and sequels. So I think a lot of that propelled it into the success it's had, but which is also why I think why you're seeing it drop off steeply after its opening weekend, because word of mouth is getting around and people aren't really digging it too much. And there's a lot of awkward situations in the movie also that elicit some laughter from that are supposed to be like really serious discussions, and that just has to do with like the way Luc Besson writes and some of the awkwardness of his dialogue. So, but I don't know. It's kind of a strange movie, but it's also a kind of a fun movie at the same time. You really just have to turn off your brain, because the science in this movie as well is really, really out there and all completely implausible. You just have to roll with the punches, I guess. But yeah, check out Lucy when it hits home video. Not worth seeing in the theater. So that's my recommendation for that one. Did you guys have any questions?
I'm
Oh,
a
wait
little
till it's
bit
on Netflix.
I'm a little bit confused by it just because um, was Morgan Freeman aware of Lucy? Because from the commercial, it seemed like he was like following her movements or something. Like he knew of this case study of Lucy.
No. She seeks him out. She goes on the internet, and by that point, I think she's like at 20 or 30%, and is able to consume data like almost immediately. And she finds his written works on the human brain, and she contacts him because she wants to use him to help her map her brain and try and find out what she can do with the knowledge she's gaining. But that's about as far and as deep as the movie goes with the storyline and any character stuff.
I see.
When they do finally meet up, not a whole lot really happens other than a lot of special effects.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you saw
it. I'm glad it made money for you.
Hey, Dave, by the way, Universal just announced Alien vs. Predator maze at Halloween Horror Nights.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
Was this year you were going to skip it?
Yes.
Reconsidering that?
Well, okay, so he told me last week that there's a From Dusk Till Dawn maze. And now he's telling me they have an Alien vs. Predator maze.
Dusk Till Dawn based on the TV show. Whoever watches that.
And I don't know if you know this or not, James, but the Alien series, especially the second film is probably my favorite movie of all time. And the Alien series in general, I love. Even the bad ones. So them saying that they're going to have a maze with aliens in it is a big thing for me. Fucking bastards. Thanks for that news, Brian. God
Before every maze is built, we first design a CG model. The maze just finished controlling alien facehuggers, aliens, predators, facehuggers, chest bursters, and possibly a few surprises.
I mean, it would be better for me. I would like it better if it was just straight up aliens or straight up predator, because I hate the AVP movies.
Yeah,
but I guess
they don't have a mixture of both there.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there a second AVP movie?
Yeah, there was 2 of them.
Oh, that got by me.
Good for you.
Well, I mean, after the first one, I didn't need to see anything else.
From the creator of the Hollywood Horror Nights. Oh, by the way, this is the maze that I said you would freak out over all these months ago. Stay tuned.
Bastards.
Let us know how
I'll let you know how the Orlando version is, Dave and James, and Dave can let us know how the Hollywood version is.
Okay. We'll see how that works out.
Are we going to spoilers for the next movie, or are we just...
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I think there's some people that can't pop up in it that I don't know. I mean, there's certain characters I don't think are considered spoilers at this point.
What was the IMDb thing?
That was mostly, I guess, from what I saw afterwards, was certain actors doing voices. I thought there was going to be cameos and stuff of actual characters from the Marvel Universe, but that ended up not being really the case, except for a few instances. So, but anyways, well, let's get into the movie here. So, anyways, yeah, that's going to lead us into our review of the week for Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know. God, I keep forgetting to do this. We forgot to decide who was going to go first on this one. Damn it. If neither of you want to, I will.
I can do it.
You want to go, James?
I can do it.
Okay. Have at it, sir.
So, Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's start off. I think we all saw it in 3D. Did anybody
Yes.
see it in IMAX?
I saw it in Atmos.
So, Brian, did you see it in Atmos?
I did not see an Atmos. I saw it in Limax.
Oh, you saw it live. Where did you see it?
AMC Glendora has it, and
Okay.
it's assigned seating, so I went that route because I figured that 3D would be better on an IMAX screen, even though it was Limax, than what they have at Krikorian. So
I see. So I'm gonna. You all right there, Dave?
Yeah, just a cuck.
Okay. Well, I saw it happen, so
Oh, did it look like I was
maybe
straining?
yeah, it looked maybe worse than it was. I'm going to go on a slight detour here and talk about a little bit of my movie-going experience with this movie. I saw the movie again. I went
again,
back. I went again. I went back to the Chinese Six.
oh
Theater.
shit! See, I was thinking about seeing it again there too. Go ahead.
And so I saw it at. I saw it in 3D and with Atmos. And this time I did not do the D-Box, but I was maybe 1 to 2 rows behind the D-Box seats.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned something is that you still get the benefit of their vibration. Because
Oh, boy.
the whole row of D-Box seats starts rumbling. And so if you're in close proximity, you rumble also. You don't get the chair movement that the people who actually paid for D-Box get, but you do get the rumble. And I enjoyed the proximity rumbling. It was
So you were turned on by the proximity rumbling, James? Is that what you're saying?
that's not what I'm saying at all.
Oh.
So
Thank you, James. You gave me the title for this episode.
I think I've done
Proximity
that for
rumbling?
something else. Things I say end up in the title. But anyway,
Why didn't you go with D-Box?
I just didn't want to. I was afraid if it was done bad, then it might ruin my. Like I wanted to see this purely. I didn't want to do anything experimental.
Because after I saw it this first time, I want to see it in D-Box now.
Well, let's go see it in D-Box.
Well, soon. Gotta give me a couple weeks.
What was I right that there's like certain parts in the 3D where it felt like you're in Star Tours?
I already saw a Disneyland attraction over this already. Perfect for Tomorrowland.
So you're throwing me off here, guys. So the
sorry.
thing I wanted to mention is that there comes a point the trailers start and they're in 2D, and then there comes a point where you get that slide that says please put on your 3D glasses, and I put on my 3D glasses and it was blurry. And I said, what's this? So I took my glasses off and put them back on. At first I thought maybe it's my contacts or something. But no, it was blurry. And then the trailer starts, and the trailer is blurry. So I look around and I see people kind of looking at the people that they're with. So I just jump up and head to the lobby.
Nice.
And as I did that, there was one guy who was on an end of a row, and he got to the stairs at about the same time I did. And he looked at me, and I said, it's blurry. And he said, okay. And so we went down there, and he went and grabbed like an usher, and I grabbed the ticket taker, and we came back in with them, and they looked at the movie for a while with the glasses on, and then they were like, oh, shoot. So, they headed off to tell somebody. So then the guy, this is the whole point of this story. So the guy that I had, walked down there with, he says to me, well, that's what they get for doing all of this IMAX and 3D and all of this stuff. And so you guys know that only the main Chinese theater is a Limax.
Mm-hmm.
All the other theaters are not. So I asked him, do you think that this theater is an IMAX screen? And he says, well, of course it is. It's advertised as the Chinese IMAX theaters.
Whoa.
And I go, well, I'm pretty sure that's on. Like, I didn't want to make him feel like a dumbass. So I go, So
Hey, dumbass.
so I go, I'm pretty sure that's only the main theater that's IMAX, not these ones back here. And he was like, no, no, no. Look how big the screen is. This is IMAX. And in that moment, I was like, this is what IMAX has done. They have completely watered down their brand to the point that people don't even know what is IMAX and what's not. And
Why wouldn't people realize and go, why am I paying this extra amount of money when it's not really IMAX? I mean, don't they ever doubt it?
I don't know how to answer that.
Okay.
But I just know I think this is a royal mess up by IMAX, and I felt like I needed to say this on the show. The average moviegoer out there does not know what IMAX is, and like you and me, Dave, we walk into a theater, look up at the screen, we'll say IMAX or not IMAX. You could drop us into any movie theater on this planet. Just drop us in, teleport us in. We'll look up at the screen, IMAX or not IMAX.
Yeah, eyeball it.
Right.
Eyeball it.
But the average Joe going to the theater does not know the difference, and I think IMAX has majorly screwed up in this, because they had a solid brand, they had a specific thing that was, they had a specific aspect that was specific to their brand. And they've watered it down, and now nobody knows what it is.
Can I jump to IMAX's defense, though?
Go ahead.
I think it was too expensive for them to build an actual real-life IMAX like we know it as. So in order to make money, they had to sell their brand name to make that profit. And AMC, paid enough money for it.
Yeah.
But why did they call it straight up IMAX? Why didn't they call it something else?
Because people knew what IMAX was.
I don't know if I remember. I don't remember if we've ever discussed this completely on here before. But the whole reason the IMAXs came to fruition is because of James Cameron's Avatar. Because that movie was being released exclusively in IMAX. It was not being released on any other screen, and because of that, IMAX hurried to get their brand out there in other theaters as quickly as possible. That was where it started.
Thanks, James Cameron.
You sound like that South Park episode.
Because, I mean, even though Avatar wasn't that long ago, I mean, you go back that far, there was no such thing as a Limax back then. Mm-hmm. The Avatar was the catalyst for all this crap. So, and all the 3D stuff also.
So that's my IMAX bashing for the day.
For the week.
But I'm gonna say something else about like these formats and stuff. I've come to understand in myself that of all of these other types of formats, Atmos is the one that I could do without. And it's not that I hate Atmos; it's just that I don't think it adds enough. And so a lot of times you pay a premium to see something in Atmos, even if it's a couple bucks. And I'm just not feeling like I'm getting enough from Atmos. If you look at anything else like 3D, like 2D and 3D are different. Now, there's this whole question about whether they really put any effort into making the 3D, but that's a whole different issue. When you see something that's in good 3D, it is absolutely different than 2D. HFR is very different than just a regular screen. When you talk about D-Box or any other of the rumble type technologies, that's something different. And with Atmos, I feel like it's just maybe even IMAX. If you go that step, and I just bash them, but true IMAX is different than a regular screen. But with Atmos, it feels like it's just basically putting an extra layer of icing on top of a cake that was already delicious.
Atmos should not be a premium-based payment thing. It should be, at this point, they should be installing them in every theater.
Right.
It should be a norm. It shouldn't be like, oh, I saw it in Atmos. Because I mean, I think back to when like DTS and digital and Dolby Digital came out back in the mid to early 90s. Like, I didn't pay premium to go see Jurassic Park and DTS. It's like that was just a new sound format that came out to enhance the movie. That's all it was. Is a new sound
but theater
format.
companies are trying to make an extra dollar any way they can.
I get that, but I mean, are they purposely limiting the number of theaters to have Atmos because of that? I mean, why isn't this being put out in more theaters by this point?
I'll tell you though, my Atmos experiences have not been as good as that first time when we saw Brave. And I don't know if it's because the speakers were right above us, if I could tell, but anywhere else I have not really noticed it. Maybe when it rains or something, but that's about it.
I completely agree. Brave was still the best I heard of it. And in Guardians of the Galaxy, all I noticed is that it made the movie louder.
Don't get me wrong, though. When it comes home, I'm probably going to upgrade, and when I have my own entertainment room, I'll make it for the Atmos. But in theater atmosphere, I never had that experience like I did at El Capitan.
Well,
I think those speakers are right above our heads, so maybe that's the reason why.
And by right above our heads, he means like 10 feet.
Well, see, that's the other question, though. Was it just El Capitan, though? Like, maybe El Capitan does Atmos better than everybody else.
But we were underneath the balcony, James, so that's why it was so close to our heads.
I know
we were up more front than we wouldn't be able to, so I think that's why we were able to tell more. Because I think the main thing there in that movie, if I remember right, is those little spirit creatures that were flying around.
Mm-hmm.
And the arrow or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'm with Dave. The most that I've heard Atmos is in rain scenes. I remember distinctly in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and a couple other like that type of movie. But yeah, that is not something that I need to seek out anymore. Is Atmos. So,
what movie are we talking about again?
Back to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Atmos in D-Box.
The IMAX 3D D-Box Atmos feature film
experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as Brian belches on the air.
Yeah, that's a good segue.
You got to say the other movie podcasts don't really talk about experiences like we do for a half hour. James, go ahead.
Well, it's important to us. So moving on to Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, we know that it did major box office this week. I've heard people on Facebook and Twitter saying that it's the best Marvel movie of all time. Kids of a certain age are saying that it's the best movie they've ever seen.
Wow.
I'm saying calm down. Like I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I liked about almost everything about this movie, but to put it in your best of categories already is a little bit presumptive.
They bought into the hype, James.
They absolutely did.
Yeah.
But the thing that I think that is great about this movie is that I didn't realize going into it that it's has really good humor. It actually has really good drama. It's a great action movie, and overall, it tells a good story. And I think that story is one of the biggest parts of the success of this movie. Is that going back to conversations we've had in the past? I think that they really planned this out in a way that the people over there doing the Batman and Superman movies did not really plan things out. I feel this movie seems so seamless, fits so seamlessly into the Marvel world that already exists that I feel like they had this planned out from the start. Maybe they had as much detail as like get 2 movies out from each of the single actors, then do an Avengers, then do Guardians of the Galaxy. Maybe they had that much detail, maybe not, but whatever their plan was, I think that without a shadow of a doubt there was a plan, and they followed it to perfection. About the look and feel of this movie really looks good. I mean, it's colorful. There are some 3D elements in there, enough to make me satisfied. It's not like it was popping all over the place with 3D, but there were some good 3D elements, especially with the character Groot and some other scenes. Um, I felt like it's a really beautiful looking film. And then you go to the soundtrack, and Dave, you had kind of hinted at this when you saw that preview. That music really does play a role in this movie, and I think there was no way. Maybe even not even you could have known how much of a role that music really does play, and it's almost a spoiler to explain more than that.
Yeah.
That
It's not just a soundtrack.
right, exactly.
You better have some of those songs in this podcast.
What?
Okay.
Now, I'll tell you that going into the movie, I was concerned that, you know, really the star is Chris Pratt. And I am almost at a loss to say something that I've seen Chris Pratt in. Like, have you guys seen him in anything else?
Parks and Recreation.
And see, I don't really watch that. What about you, Brian? Have you seen Chris Pratt in anything?
Parks and Recreation.
Thank you for contributing. So, I mean, so that was one of the concerns for me. But I feel like he really carries this movie. I like this is his star-making moment, and then everybody else who's in the main cast of this ragtag group of heroes called the Guardians of the Galaxy, from Dave Bautista, who I couldn't have expected any kind of satisfaction from his casting, but his dry wit is like he has some of the comical lines in this movie. And then,
by the way, I think that will make him an immediate face when he comes back to WWE.
This is game changing for him in WWE.
Yeah,
it really is. And then, you know, I knew that Vin Diesel plays the voice of this talking tree, and I was like, you know, how's that going to work? And then I found out he only says a certain number of words, and I was like, how's that going to be? But it works. Like, however they did it, it works.
And why is he so good at being like children-type characters?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. But he is. And to that end, well, let me before I stop there. Bradley Cooper as the voice of Rocket, I was prepared to be annoyed by Bradley Cooper's stupid voice, and I feel like he was perfect. Like he nailed all of his lines, and again, Rocket even had a lot of the humor in this movie, and then to those about those characters, Rocket, who is a talking raccoon, and Groot, who is a walking tree. Like, you understand that those things don't exist in life, but the CG in this movie is so good that I never once felt like I was looking at CG. It's very, very well done. And then when you consider, since I'm talking about the cast, when you start to think about some of the supporting characters, not even supporting, like side characters, are Glenn Close and Benicio del Toro and John C. Reilly and Jimon Hansu, and even Michael Rooker, who was Merle in Walking Dead. And actually, I think he's still playing Merle. Like, I don't think he has any other acting style.
I've heard that from many people. People just can't disassociate him with Merle.
But he was awesome.
He was awesome.
He was.
And so, I mean, I think all of these individual things, from the humor to the drama to the action to the great story to the look and feel to the characters, I think it all comes together, and that's why people love this movie so much. Now, like I said, you got to calm yourself down and don't get swept up in the euphoria of greatest movie of all time and all of this stuff. But I mean, this is a very well crafted movie, and it's probably the best movie, the best comic book movie about characters that you didn't know anything about. I think that's what caught people off guard and why they're so surprised and happy with this movie, because everybody knows the Hulk, everybody knows Batman, everybody knows Spider-Man. Who knows Star-Lord? Who knows Groot? Right?
And you're the comic book guy, and you didn't know, right?
Well, the thing is with Guardians of the Galaxy, I was aware of Guardians of the Galaxy, but not this Guardians of the Galaxy, and I was very aware of Star-Lord. But when I was aware of Star-Lord, he wasn't in Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy was rebooted about 5 or 6 years ago, and that is what this movie is based on. The original Guardians of the Galaxy is back in like the 60s or 70s or something like that, and Star-Lord is about that old also. But they didn't take the characters or the team from back then. They based this on the reboot. And I know for a fact that Drax the Destroyer is not portrayed in the comic books the way he's portrayed in this movie. And I know that Star-Lord was an astronaut who went out into space and, hijinks ensued. And so if you see this movie, you know that the movie doesn't portray those characters in that way. But there's nothing to complain about here, because they changed everything for the better. And like I said at the top, it all fits seamlessly into this Marvel universe that they've already created. And my main concern was that I was like, how do you fit like supernatural, like otherworldly characters into this universe, this Marvel universe that's here on Earth that they've already created? And boom bap, they did it. Like it's done, and we're ready to go on to more adventures. And I just credit that to great planning and like a very fun story. And so like there's very little. I have to even think if there's anything that I can criticize about this movie. I mean,
The villain?
see, I don't criticize the villain. I liked the look of the villain, and I was staring at him the whole movie because he's the main villain. There's more than one villain here, but he's the main one. We're talking about Ronan. And it wasn't until the closing credits that I realized that was Lee Pace. And I'm a Lee Pace fan. I've seen every episode of Pushing Daisies probably twice. And I had no idea that was Lee Pace. Wow. And I enjoyed kind of like the look and style of that villain. Now, he didn't have a whole lot to do because there's all these other hijinks that are going on in the movie. I mean, is that your complaint, or what are you complaining about the villain? Brian.
I was saying he just wasn't as fleshed out as... I think Marvel kind of has that issue with some of the villains, except for Loki, where they're just there to be the bad guy and nothing else. But at the same time, I think a lot of people are expecting too much out of villains because of people who are playing Loki or Joker or whatever have you. So to me, the villain was okay, and I actually think Nebula was a much better or more interesting character.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yes, Nebula was far more interesting.
But see, that's why I don't have a problem with Ronan, because when you have these other characters who step up into the role, then why does every character have to be an A+?
I'm just saying that's what most people are thinking. They kind of want that type of villain, but...
And the other thing I feel about, and I don't know that we're going into spoilers in this movie, but you don't have a Darth Vader when there's a Darth Vader around the corner. So like you're leading to something.
Well, some people have likened the Darth Vader you're talking about as to the Emperor, actually.
Yeah.
He's on his throne, and that was it.
This Darth Vader is more
active
than the Emperor was.
Well, so far in the cinematic Marvel universe, he has been just kind of sitting around pulling strings.
Absolutely, I agree. But when the stuff goes down, he will do something different.
Did you mark out on that Darth Vader?
Are you kidding? I was, euphoric. I was like a giddy little schoolgirl.
Were you like curious of whether or not we were actually going to see him?
See him at all?
In that
Yeah,
way?
I mean, you think,
I thought
And
it
then-
might be more closing credit stuff.
I for a while there, I thought it was just going to be the back of the chair, and I didn't think we were going to get a full shot. And then when we did, I was like, oh, okay.
He doesn't have the glove yet, right?
Well, you're really going into stuff now.
Darth Vader doesn't have the Jedi orbs yet, does he?
No. From what I understand, the Jedi orbs are still locked away in the Asgardian. Was it their vault?
What I would like to know is more of time frame of when everything is happening. I'm assuming this is after Avengers.
Well, yeah. Well, the opening said 1988. Then it said what 26 years later, which places it or 2014, right?
Okay.
So that and then I'm assuming all the current Marvel stuff is happening like
Currently.
in
order.
currently. So yeah, so this is probably happening concurrent, like shortly after the Avengers and concurrently with like the Captain America stuff.
Okay. Are you done, James?
Yeah, I didn't go into the story too much.
I think we should avoid
I'll,
that.
I'll leave that to either one of you guys.
Yeah.
But I was very impressed with this movie. I enjoyed it. I think anyone who likes this type of movie should run out and see it. I've already told people at work that.
Yeah.
I do
And-
think that you need to be caught up, though,
Caught up with what?
with the Marvel movies so far.
I don't think so.
I actually think this is probably the best standalone Marvel they've
Yeah.
made. Marvel's made so far.
Yeah.
But that stuff with new Darth Vader and stuff, you won't have context.
It doesn't matter.
You won't have context for it, but everything else, as far as the characters and everything, you don't need to see the other movies to know who these characters are.
And by the way, some of those people that don't see it for the credits for those other movies didn't see the Darth Vader, so it's all new to them.
God.
Okay, can I go next?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I was really hyped for this movie, not just because it's on my summer movie draft and I wanted to do well, but I think this the aspect of science fiction, which is probably my favorite genre, had me excited. And I'll tell you one thing that was really awesome, and I don't know if you guys would ever bring this up or even notice as much as I did, but that new Marvel logo that showed up, that music, I was really getting pumped just from that one beginning part. As it's throwing through the letters and it comes out and scrolls back. I thought that was very well done, and it kind of got me all excited about the movie. And the thing that surprised me, and even though I kind of knew it was going to have funny moments, was how much funny moments were built perfectly within the movie. Because it wasn't like, ha 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 ha, laugh at this part. It was like something that you would really see or do in the real world. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For example, that when we meet Star-Lord in the beginning, he's kind of having a fun time with the surrounding areas, and I thought that was one of the best things that I wasn't ever expecting within the movie. But someone who has the Indiana Jones, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker thing going, it was perfect for that character to do those type of things. Rocket really surprised me, especially when he was asking for certain pieces that he doesn't really need. There was a lot of funny stuff there.
I need that guy's eye.
I thought that was just very well done, because you never seen that type of thing in a movie like this at all. And the final scene where they're battling the final guy, I just thought that was just awesome, the distraction part. And I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, my mind didn't comprehend what I was seeing, even though I thought it was really good. I just was never used to those type of things, and there's a bunch of them. And to me personally, and James, you said this is not the best movie of all time, but I definitely would agree it is not the best movie of all time. But if you had to pick a movie that was close to Star Wars, this is very, very close. to outdoing Star Wars, especially the latest Star Wars movies.
Well, see, that's what I said though, is that there are kids of a certain age are saying this is the best movie they've ever seen.
It's their Star Wars.
I feel like this is their Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah. George Lucas needs to look at this and realize, see, you didn't need Jar Jar. You needed Groot.
Yeah. I mean, everything was very well done in the movie. If I had to pick a weak part, it was the villain, but that's very minimal. I mean, like James, to me, the villain definitely was okay. It was better than Thor: The Dark World's villain.
Oh yes, definitely.
And I had a total, Sith vibe to the whole thing going on there. I mean, it was, especially with Nebula, she kind of looked like Darth Maul, female Darth Maul in some ways, or the character in Clone Wars, if anybody's ever seen the Clone Wars thing. And that whole backstory of what she was going through and not knowing who to trust and stuff, it's just awesome. And it's been a long time since I've seen the movie twice, but I highly think that I'm going to be seeing this movie twice. And I already said D-Box has me very interested because there was a lot of simulator-type effects and scenes in this movie that I think will work really well with D-Box. So that's a plus for me. Definitely go see it. Don't worry if you don't like Marvel movies or those type of things. It's just a fun movie to go see. You'll like it.
And see, that's something else, Brian. I talked to someone at work who said, I heard that movie's really good. My sister went and saw it. She loved it. But I just don't see myself watching a movie with a raccoon and a tree and like all this. And I'm like, you have to get past all that because these characters are awesome.
Yeah.
And like Rocket even says like some subtle stuff like that made me laugh. Like when they were let's not spoil too much. When they were going to pick up their clothes, and he looks over at Star-Lord and he goes, "Well, they folded your clothes up, but they just balled mine into a little ball. That's just disrespectful."
Yeah.
I was laughing my ass off. I mean, just like little lines of comedy here or there. But
did you even expect to laugh out loud in this movie at all?
No, not at all. Not
exactly.
at all. And I laughed from Dave Bautista. Talking about like it's just gonna go over his head. No, it won't. My reflexes are too good. I'll just jump up and grab it. I mean, like, what the heck? I was laughing hard.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
The really good stuff here.
It is by far the best movie this summer.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you have all of that comedy, and then on top of that, opening scene, great drama. Near the end of the movie, very touching drama. Like Rocket has a thing where he explains some stuff. Good drama. This movie has it all for everybody.
And no stupid romance story.
That's what someone at work. Someone at work
very
asked me, because I said this movie has everything. They said, does it have romance? And I had to sit there and think for a minute. And I mean, like it was like just what I think it was. Which one of you just said almost? Like that's how I feel too. It's like an almost thing. It's not, but I guess that's a not really.
I'm sure it'll be explored more in the second movie. But
they definitely dropped hints of it there. I mean, not to get too much into the comparisons here, but that's like a Star Wars thing, like the Han Solo and Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia thing. Like they never started the romance in that first Star Wars movie.
Mm-hmm.
They started it in the subsequent movie. They created it in the subsequent movies, which I mean they've already announced Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I'm sure that they're going to explore that in the future movie.
And I really can't wait till they all join because seeing Tony Stark talk to Rocket Raccoon, I mean, that's awesome stuff.
Yeah, at this point they need to do a crossover. These characters are already become so popular that if they don't merge them into the regular Avengers stuff, that there's going to be an outcry.
I'm confident that's the plan.
Yeah.
I think that the culmination is that everybody comes together.
Yep. Which would make the third Avengers movie.
And I don't think it's Sheamus.
which would make the third Avengers movie a Titan movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that has the third movie has the potential to just blow the doors off of anything we've seen before.
It needs to be 4 hours long with intermission.
Well, they could follow. They could follow the same thing that all the books do. You know, the final movie and the series have 2 parts.
Oh, you mean like Hunger Games?
Yeah.
My wife goes, part 1? Wasn't part 1 already out? They go, they're just trying to make more money. Okay.
So, but okay. I mean, I don't really have much more to add to what you guys already said. I'll just say that I mean, I completely agree with you guys. I mean, like Brian, I was really looking forward to this movie. I mean, we'd been a long time since we've had a space opera epic of this proportion that wasn't associated with Star Wars or Star Trek. You know,
the planet that was made out of like a being was awesome.
Oh my God! Yeah, where they go to see the collector. Yeah. Just this simple explanation of what that planet was had much more imagination in it than almost anything else I've seen this year. I mean, because immediately, you know, they didn't feel the need to over-explain it, but immediately that just like started getting my imagination going and thinking about all the possibilities of the galaxy that they have out there.
And like Galactus not being a cloud?
I don't want. I'm going to consider this a negative, maybe not even really a nitpick, but it's something that I found after the film that I was feeling that I wanted so much more of this galaxy, of the world of these characters. That the movie moved along so fast that I felt like I didn't have enough time to like soak everything in, which is why I think everybody feels the need to go see it another time because like you know, James already mentioned like the imagery in the film is just superb, like the looks of it, the colors, the effects, everything's amazing. But I'm going to add on to that saying that on top of that, like every inch of the frame of this film is alive. Like there's always something going off on the side of the screen or behind the characters that you will never see the first time you see this movie. I'm almost guaranteeing like on second and third viewings of this film, you're going to see stuff you've never seen before. Especially if you go back and you go see the scene with the collector. I can't even imagine how many things are in the background of that scene that will make, you know, fanboys out there just using your guys' terminology, mark out. I mean, just the image, like just the simple thing of like, I think the one of the things I caught immediately was I saw a dark elf in one of the containers. And, you know, that was from the Thor: The Dark World, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. But then, you know, you get to see there's other little things out there that was really awesome, and I really loved that this movie. Now we've talked about how, you know, well, it works standalone and all that stuff, but I really love the way that this film really brings together the story they're creating for, as we're calling him, the Darth Vader of this series, like the MacGuffin, the item that everybody's after in this movie, is a key element to where all these Marvel films are headed. And the great thing about it is we've already seen 2 other pieces of this thing they're searching for in the previous films, and most people don't even realize it. Right. The Tesseract, which was in the first Captain America movie, and then made it into the Avengers movie, and then I forget what it was called, but the item, the thing that they're after, the ether in Thor: The Dark World, those are all related to each other. And you know, I get shivers thinking about how awesome it is that they're bringing all this stuff together so seamlessly for this main character. And I think we're going to have probably one of the greatest build-ups to a villain we've ever seen. I mean, we're 10 movies deep now, and we still have only seen maybe a total of 2 to 3 minutes of screen time of the ultimate villain in this story arc. And that's crazy. But I mean, and the way that they're just kind of dropping the hints and the little nuggets throughout these films is amazing. And Guardians of the Galaxy, I think at this is going to be seen as the turning point for all these films, because, you know, it introduces us to a world outside of Earth. I mean, yeah, we had Asgard, but we've always been just restricted to Asgard and its 9 realms. This opens up the whole entire galaxy. And I think from this point forward, all the Marvel films are going to be even huger than be part of a huger world than they ever have before. And this is how I feel about the film. On top of all the other stuff you guys said, like I said, I already agreed with all your other praises. So I also wholly recommend this film, and I'm almost betting that anybody that goes see this movie is going to run out and try and find the soundtrack for it. Because like you guys said, not since and this is the only movie that came to my mind. Not since Tron Legacy has a soundtrack been so integral to a movie. And unlike Tron Legacy, the movie it's associated with is actually worthy of the soundtrack. So, but I do got to put out before I close out here. I got to put out a shout out to the director James Gunn. Who I think is mostly responsible for how well this movie turned out. Some people out there will know. He made some low budget films, like a low budget horror movie called Slither, and then another favorite of Brian and mine's from a few years back. Called Super, which was his very first superhero movie. Which, to anybody out there that just now discovered the awesomeness of James Gunn, go out and watch Super. But don't watch it with your kids. Unlike this movie, it's not family friendly.
I totally forgot about that. We saw that together?
Yeah, we saw that on demand out at your place.
Okay, let me go look it up.
I think that was one of our early reviews for the LRA show, actually. But in any case, but yeah, James Gunn, awesome. I'm really happy that this movie worked out as well as it did for him, because I can only imagine better things coming in the future for him. But yeah, I don't have much more to add that you guys didn't already say. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Highly recommended. Also, I also think this is probably most likely the best movie I saw this summer and will see this summer. So yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, go see it once, twice, 3 times.
Yeah, we're not done talking about the end credits, but I'm going to say make sure you guys stay for the end credits, for God's sakes. 80 to 90% left.
Okay, you know what? Now since you bring up the end credits, I will say I was slightly disappointed with the end credits, only because this is the last film leading into the Avengers, and I was hoping something a little bit more significant. But at the same time, I really love the end credits.
When I found out why it was added, I thought that was a cool thing. Do you know why?
I know that the director is a fan of the character, but that's about all I know.
Well, from what I know is that the guy who created Guardians of the Galaxy also created this character too. That's why.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. So. But yeah, that was really. Although I was treated, my girlfriend was with me, and she's like, "What was that?"
Yeah, same.
There would be a lot of people who don't know what that is.
I will tell you this though. I checked it out on Ain't It Cool News. They said the voice of the character. Do you guys want to know who did the voice?
Sure.
Seth Green. So just FYI for anybody out there that's seen the end credits and was wondering. Seth Green did the voice. So,
all right.
Yeah, that's it. Awesome. Go see it. Make Brian some more money.
3D, IMAX, Atmos, D-Box. Do it. Twice.
Twice. And none of this proximity rumbling. Get the real D-Box.
Yeah, none of that proximity crap. Ooga, 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 chuga. All right. Later, guys.
Okay. What you call it? Well, let me close this out here. But like usual, you can go to the website lightsremoteaction.com. You can find any of our stuff on there. As of right now, the YouTube channel is kind of on a indefinite hiatus. So you could catch our older episodes on there, but as of right now, there is no plans on updating it anytime soon. Apologies for that. But yeah, you could always still catch our episode through the audio version through the iTunes podcast. So keep an eye out for that for any of our upcoming episodes. But yeah, that's it. We're out of here. I guess. I mean, geez, what do we? Is anybody planning on seeing the Turtle movie? Because I think I'm still gonna see it, but
I'm gonna see it.
Yeah, I'm going to see what I can do. I have actually. Well, we'll talk about it after you hang up.
okay. So we'll probably be back with that. I'm most likely gonna see the Into the Storm movie also, but that's about it. But in any case, we're out of here. We'll be back next week with some of that stuff. So until then, everybody out there, take care. Have a good week. And